We continue now at the top of Daf Kufchaf Dalin Amud Beis Meseches Shabbos. This is Shabbos Daf 124b. The Gemara is discussing the issue of whether or not there are things besides for Ochel Nefesh that are mutter to do on Yontiv, but are prohibited on Shabbos. And the Gemara is saying that might be a machlokas between Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel. Here's Beis Shammai's opinion. Ein motziin es hakoton v'es halulav v'es sefer Torah l'Rosh Hashanah. A person is not allowed to carry a minor, a lulav, or a sefer Torah to Rosh Hashanah. Who Beis Hillel matir, and Beis Hillel says it's mutter. Rashi explains Ein motziin hotzah shelo letzorech. Let's say you have a hotzah that it's not necessary. In other words, when it comes to anything besides ochel nefesh, for example, hotzah, carrying on yontiv, according to Beis Shammai, we're strict, we don't allow it. And the brisa before, which said that you're allowed to lower fruits through a skylight, that's going to follow Beis Hillel on yontiv. In other words, just like Beis Hillel says you're allowed to carry on yontiv, you're also allowed to do that tircha, which we discussed before, of lowering the fruits through the skylight. And the Gemara then says maybe not. Maybe Beis Shammai is strict when it comes to carrying. Tiltul mishamatlu. Who said they're going to be strict when it comes to tiltul? In other words, maybe everyone agrees that when it comes to tiltul, we can be more lenient on Yontiv than Shabbos. The Gemara answers, v'tiltul gufei lav misham hotzah. Isn't tiltul itself just a function of hotzah, meaning the reason why we have a concept of muksa, of things that you're not allowed to move around Shabbos or Yontiv, really is just because of the issue and the isser of carrying, and therefore the Gemara says once we see Beis Shammai is strict on hotzah when it comes to yontiv, it's quite possible he's strict when it comes to tiltul. Rashi says tiltul mishamatlu demash v'yontiv l'Shabbos. Who says that Beis Shammai says that tiltul on yontiv is the same as Shabbos? And the Gemara says tiltul lav tzarach hotzah bitmia. Is tiltul not part of hotzah? Hilkachi mezalzos betiltul mezalzelos behotzah. If a person is mezalzel when it comes to tiltul, if a person doesn't take tiltul seriously, then a person is also not going to take hotzah seriously, and therefore the two are indeed connected. The Gemara continues at the two dots. V'yaf Rav savar lo lahod Rava. Even Rav agrees to that which Rava said. Again, Rava said that if it's tzorech mekomo, it's the same thing as if it's tzorech gufo, and it's mutter to carry it. Rav agrees. To Amar Rav, because Rav said, Mar, if a person has a hoe, shalo yigonev, and you don't want it to get stolen, zehu tiltul shalo letzorech v'aser. That's considered tiltul, that's not letzorech, and it's aser to move it for that reason. So the Gemara makes an inference. Taima shalo yignev. The whole issue is that it shouldn't get stolen. Aval letzorech gufo, letzorech mekomo mutter. But presumably letzorech gufo and letzorech mekomo would be mutter. And this is, of course, something which is a klisha malachto leisser. So that follows Rava's understanding that a klisha malachto leisser is mutter letzorech gufo and letzorech mekomo. The Gemara says, "Ini, is that really true?" V'harav Kahana ikla levei Rav. But Rav Kahana went to the house of Rav. V'yamar aisu le shusa lekahana. And Rav said, bring a trap for Rav Kahana that he could sit on it, something that he could sit down on. So what was he saying over there? So Lav Lamemra, the Davar Shemalachto L'Isr L'Tzorach Gufo in L'Tzorach Mekomo Lo. Isn't he saying to sit down on it, meaning I allow it L'Tzorach Gufo. You can move this Davar Shemalachto L'Isr L'Tzorach Gufo, but you can't move it L'Tzorach Mekomo. Isn't that the whole point of his statement? So the Gemara says, no, Hachi Amarlu. What he really said was as follows. He said, Shkulu Shusa Mekame Kahana. Move the trap away so that Kahana can sit in its place. And on the contrary, he was actually saying, L'tzorach mekomo, you are allowed to move it because Rav Kahana needed that space to sit in. Another answer, another possibility is that over there it was being moved from a place of sunlight to a place of shade. Someone might have gotten confused and thought that he was even allowing mecham l'tzel, so he had to make it clear, I'm not allowing mecham l'tzel, we're doing this l'tzorach gufo. So you see that it could be that Rav does agree with Rava. Rav Mari bar Rachel Havale Hahi Beisad Yusa B'Shimsha. Rav Mari, the son of Rachel, it was a felt pillow. It was in the sun. Asal Akame de Rava, he came to Rava. Amar Lei said to him, Ma'alatil Tolinu, what's the halacha? Can I move this item? Amar Lei said, Shari, it's no problem. You can move it. He told him, Isli Achrina. He said, I have another one. I don't really need to use it. It's not L'Tzorech Gufo. So Rava said, Chazal Orchin. No, it is because you can use it for guests. Isli Nami or Lorchim. So he said, no, I also have guests. I have pillows for guests also. I don't need it at all. Amar Lei said to him, Golis adaitach dekarabba svirlach. By all your statements over here, you're making it clear that in reality you hold like Rabba, and therefore l'kuliyal mashari, for everyone else it will be permitted, ladidach aser, and for you it will be aser. Rashi here says, Amar le shari. So first he said it was permitted. Rava l'taime. Rava followed his opinion. The Amar davar shemalachto leheter af mecham l'tzel mutter. This is a pillow. It's malachto leheter, and you can even move it mecham l'tzel. And then he said, it's clear that you hold like Rabba, that you hold mechama l'tzeil as usher, and therefore for you it indeed will be prohibited if you hold like Rabba. And Rashi says here, v'halacha kerava, the halacha is like Rava, that if it's something that's malachto leheter, it's totally permitted, you can move it. And something that's malachto le'isr, l'tzarech gufa u'mekoma mutter, if you need to move it, l'tzarech gufa and mekoma, it is mutter. If you're moving it from the sun to the shade, you're trying to prevent it from getting stolen, then it is usher. That's what Rashi holds is in fact the final halacha. The Gemara continues, Amar Rabbi Abba, Amar Rabbi Chia Barashi. Rabbi Abba says in the name of Rabbi Chia Barashi, Amar Rav in the name of Rav. Mechabdos shel milsa, mutter l'taltalam b'Shabbos. If you have mechabdos, Rashi says this is an item which you would use to sweep off the table, and it's made of cloth. So that's a, Rashi says that is melachtan leheter. So such an item you can move it on Shabbos. Aval shel tamara lo, but if it's made of, Rashi says shel tamara is ke'in shalonu lechabed es habayis. It's made of date branches. Essentially, it's what was made to sweep the floor of the house. To asur mishum ashvuye gumos. That's a problem of making the holes, filling in the holes in the dirt ground. To mod Rabbi Shimon psikresha v'lo yamos, that's a psikresha, and that is actually a davar shemalachto le'isr. So again, that is Rav's opinion that shel tamara is going to be a problem to move. Rabbi Lazar says af shel tamara, you can even move around the one that's made of the date branches. That's not a problem, even though it's malachto le'isr. So the Gemara says, b'may askin, what's the case over here? If the case over here is that you're moving it l'tzarech gufa l'tzarech mekomo, b'ha leima Rav shel tomorrow lo, is Rav going to say you can't move it l'tzarech gufa mekomo? We just said that Rav holds like Rav that it's mutter. V'ha Rav kiravas virale, Rav holds like Rav, it should be no problem. So we must be talking about moving it from the sun to the shade. B'ha leima Rabbi Lazar af shel tomorrow, and Rabbi Lazar is going to say that if you have a davar shemalachto le'isr, you can move it from the sun to the shade. So the Gemara says liola mechama l'tzeil. Really, we are talking about mechama l'tzeil. Ema v'chein amar Rebbe Lazar. You should change it to v'chein amar Rebbe Lazar. And Rashi explains v'chein amar Rebbe Lazar shel milsa mutter. That shel milsa is mutter. Shel tamara aser mecham l'tzeil. But shel tamara, Rebbe Lazar would indeed say that it's aser to move it mecham l'tzeil. And the Gemara continues with the Mishnah, Kol ha-kelim hanitolin b'Shabbos, all kelim which are allowed to be moved on Shabbos, shivrehen nitolin imohen. If the kelim break, the broken pieces from those kelim can also be moved. Uvilvad sheyu osen me'ein malacha. As long as they're able to do some kind of malacha, they're fit. Rashi says, me'ein malacha, shum malacha, any kind of malacha. Va'afilo eina me'ein harishon. Even if it's not similar to what they originally did, that's still enough to make it mutter to move around. Shivrei areva, so for example, if you have broken pieces of a trough, lachasos bohenes piachavis, if they can be used to cover the top of a barrel, shivrei zechuchas, if you have broken pieces of glass, lachasos ben es piapach, let's say they can be used to cover a flask. Rabbi Yehuda says, bilvad shu osen mein malachton, they have to do something similar to their original use. So he says, therefore, for example, shivrei areva, lotzuk lesochan makefa. Let's say you have broken pieces of a trough, you need to be able to use it to put in, let's say, porridge. V'shel zechuchas, broken pieces of glass, lotzuk lesochan shemen. They have to at least be able that you can put into them some kind of oil, again, something similar to the original malacha. Amar Rav Yehuda Amar Shmuel, Rav Yehuda says in the name of Shmuel, Machlokes shenishburu me'erev Shabbos. The whole Machlokes in the Mishnah is where the item broke on Friday, Demar Savar me'in malachton, in me'in malacha acheres lo. One opinion says they have to do their original malacha, otherwise it's no good. Umar Savar afilo me'in malacha acheres, and the other one says, no, even if it can do any kind of work, it's okay. Aval nishbru b'Shabbos, but if it breaks on Shabbos, divrei hakol mutar, and everybody agrees that you can move it around. Ho'elu muchanin al gabe avian mutar. Since they are muchan because their fathers, meaning originally when they were when Shabbos began, they could be moved around because they were full kalim, so therefore you can move it around even now that it's a broken kli. That's if it happens on Shabbos. So according to this opinion, we're more lenient when it happens on Shabbos. So most of Rav Zutroy asks, Masikin b'kalim, it says with regards to Yontiv, you're allowed to light, let's say you have kalim, you can use those to help light a fire on Yontiv. Ve'in masikin b'shivrei kalim, and you're not allowed to use broken kalim because apparently they're muksa. So the Gemara says, Dinishbru emas. When did these kalim break? Ilema dinishbru me erev yomtiv. If they broke me erev yomtiv, eitzim bi'almaninu. They're regular pieces of wood. Of course you can use them. Why wouldn't you be able to use them? Elalav b'yontiv. Obviously they broke on yontiv. V'katani, and it says, Masikin b'kalim vein masikin b'shivrei kalim. That you're allowed to do it only if it's full kalim. You can't do it with broken kalim. Apparently, the fact that it broke on yontiv, it doesn't help you at all. That doesn't make it less muksa. So Ela Yitmar Hachi Yitmar. So the Gemara says you're right. If you're going to say a statement from Rav Yehuda Amar Shmuel, it's going to have to be as follows: Amar Rav Yehuda Amar Shmuel, that Rav Yehuda says in the name of Shmuel, Machlokas shenishbru b'Shabbos. The machlokas is when it broke on Shabbos. Demar Savar Muchanhu, one says it's still considered to be okay. It's not a problem of muksa. Umar Savar Noladhu, and the other one says no. If it broke on Shabbos, it's a problem of Nolad because it just became Shivrei Kalim right now on Shabbos. Avol Me'erev Shabbos, but if it happened Me'erev Shabbos, according to this position, Divrei HaKol Mutar, and everybody agrees it's Mutar, Hoil V'huchnu L'Malacha Miba'od Yom, because already Miba'od Yom, you had in mind that you were going to use this for this particular Malacha. So now, in this revised version of Rav Yehuda Amar Shmuel, it turns out that if it broke on Erev Shabbos, that's when we're lenient, that's when everyone says it's okay, and the only issue, the machlokas, is what happens if it breaks on Shabbos, and it's an issue of nolad. The Gemara says, Tani Chada, we have one brayso which says Masikin b'Kalim vein Masikin b'Shivrei Kalim. You're allowed to light on Yontiv full Kalim, not broken Kalim. B'Tan Yidich, there's another brayso which says Kashem shemasikin b'Kalim kach Masikin b'Shivrei Kalim. That just like you're allowed to light full Kalim, you can light with broken Kalim on Yontiv. B'Tanya Yidich, and we have another brayso which says Ein Masikin lo b'Kalim v'lo b'Shivrei Kalim. You can't light a fire with full Kalim or broken Kalim. So we have a three-way contradiction, and the Gemara answers Harav Yehuda, Rabbi Shimon, Rabbi Nechemia. One brayso is authored by Rabbi Yehuda, one by Rabbi Shimon, and one by Rabbi Nechemia. Rashi here explains. First of all, going back to Muchan, Mar Savar Muchan ukeven de Roy l'Shem Malacha. Since it's Roy for Malacha, it's fine. Umar Savar Nolad Hava, the other one says no, it's Nolad de Me Esbel Lav Lahai Malacha Avakoi, because since it broke today on Shabbos, it wasn't set for this Malacha yesterday. Hilkach Mein Malachto B'inan, and therefore that opinion says it's Nolad, you need it to be able to do its original Malacha, because otherwise you've lost the original intention, and it becomes a problem of Nolad. And the Gemara says for the three-way contradiction in Bryce is Rabbi Yehuda, Masikin B'Kalim Ve'in Masikin B'Shivrei Kalim. Rabbi Yehuda is the one that says you can use full Kalim to light with on Yontiv and not Shivrei Kalim. The Islay Muksa, because he holds a Muksa v'Nolad, and he holds the concept of Nolad. Kalim lav Muksa ninu, Shvarim Nolad ninu. When it comes to Kalim, there's no issue of Muksa. When it comes to Shvarim, there is an issue of Nolad. V'hadatani Masikin b'Shneim, the one that says everything is Mutter, Rabbi Shimon, the Lesle Muksa v'Lesle Nolad. Rabbi Shimon doesn't hold a Muksa, he doesn't hold of Nolad. V'hadatani af v'Kalim Masikin, and the view that says that with Kalim you're not allowed to use, meaning even Kalim. Rabbi Nechemia Hidamar Inkli Nitel Elo Letzorach Tashmishu HaMyuchad Lo, as we've mentioned many times. Rabbi Nechemia's position that a kli cannot be taken except for the designated use. V'hai lav miyuchad hulo, the lav la hasaka koi. This is not considered miyuchad because it wasn't made for hasaka purposes. So basically, the Gemara is saying these three brises represent the views of different tanoim. Whether again, Rabbi Yehuda holds of muksa, general muksa. Rabbi Shimon in general does not hold of muksa, and Rabbi Nechemia holds a very strict opinion. It has to be only used for the designated original intention. Amar Rav Nachman says, Hani livni di ishtayir mi binyana. Let's say you have bricks that are left over from a building. Shari letal tolinu. You're allowed to move them to chazu lemizgalayo because they have a use. You can sit down on them, and therefore it's permissible. It's not a problem of muksa. Now sharginu. Let's say they were lined up one on top of the other, clearly designated for building purposes. Vadai aksinu. Those are certainly made muksa. You designated for something other than Shabbos. Cannot move them on Shabbos. Amar Rav Nachman Amar Shmuel. Rav Nachman says in the name of Shmuel, Cheres Ketan, if you have a small piece of clay, a small piece of pottery, Mutter L'taltel B'chotzer, you're allowed to move it in the Chotzer. Alva B'karmelis, no, you can't move it. Alva B'karmelis, lo, you can't move it in the Karmelis. For Rav Nachman Didei Amar, and Rav Nachman himself says, not in the name of Shmuel, but his own opinion, Afila B'karmelis, you can move it even in a Karmelis, Alva B'rishas Harabim lo, but you can't move it in Rishas Harabim. V'Rav Amar, and Rava says, Afila B'rishas Harabim, you can even move it in Rishas Harabim. Rashi explains what is the issue of moving. This is not an issue of carrying, this is an issue of muksa, of tiltal. So why should there be a difference between a Chotzer, Karmelis, and Rishas Harabim? Rashi explains, B'chotzer d'shchichi ba kalim, sha'acheres hazeh roi lohem l'kisoi v'toras kli olav. In a Chotzer you have kalim where this piece of cheres has a use. It can be a cover. In a Karmelis, even if you're moving it less than Dalet Amos, there's nothing there that it has a use for. That's the issue, so it becomes that it's not a kli. Rashi says a Karmelis is not a Rosh Hashanah. People often come over there and they sit down. So it does have a use. You can use it to cover up spit or some other use. Rava says even in Rosh Hashanah it's considered to have a use. Kaven de v'chotzer kliyu, since in a chotzer it's considered a kli. Be'al manami lo paka shem kli minei. In other parts, meaning in Rosh Hashanah, the shem kli does not leave it. And the Gemara says v'az de Rava l'taimi, that Rava follows his opinion. The Rava have a ka'azal beriska de mechuza, because Rava was once walking in the Rosh Hashanah in mechuza, asvesoi mesane tina, and his shoes they became dirty with mud. Asa Shamei, so his servant came, Shakal Chaspa, and he took a piece of clay, and he was wiping it off. Ramu Bei Rabbanan Kala, and the rabbis raised their voice against this, and they said, this is a problem of muksa. Amar, so Rava said, Lo Mistaya de Lo Gemiri, it's not enough that you haven't learned properly, Migmar Nami Migmar, you're also teaching the wrong thing. Ilu b'chotzer havai, had I been in a chotzer, milo have chazi lechesuya beimona, it certainly would have been something useful to cover up a kli. Hachanam chazi ledidi, so too over here, as we said, once it has a shame kli in that scenario, the item is considered to have a purpose anywhere, even in Rishus Harabim, and it's not a problem of muksa. Amar Rav Yehuda, Amar Shmuel, Rav Yehuda says in the name of Shmuel, Megufas chavis shenichtasa, let's say you have the seal that's over a barrel, it becomes crushed up, mutter latal to b'Shabbos, that also you can move around on Shabbos. Tanya Namiyach, we have a brisa that says the same thing, Megufa shenichtasa, hi ushvorem, mutter latal to b'Shabbos. If the lid of a barrel gets crushed up, you can move it, you can move the broken pieces on Shabbos, it's not a problem. However, velo yisbos mimena shever lechasos boes akli, what you cannot do is you can't smooth it out and make it fit to be a nice cover or to use it to help hold up the legs of a bed. That already is considered, Rashi says, that's considered makav patish. That's like tikkun money, you're creating a kli. And the brisa finishes, Vim zorka ba'ash ba'aser. But if you took these broken pieces and you threw them in the garbage, then that shows that you don't want it to be a kli. Rashi says it's batel from Torah's kli and it's aser. So on that last line, Maskiv lo Rapapa asks, according to that, Zorik leglime hachanami daser, let's say a person throws his cloak into the ashpa, into the garbage. Does that suddenly make it aser to move around? Elam Rapapa, rather Rapapa says, and we'll see the continuation of Rapapa's statement in the next video on Daf Kuf Chaf Hey Amud Aleph.